Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Heather, your EC Mama bestie, and I'm here to show you how you too can naturally potty train your baby from as early as birth. I teach pregnant and postpartum mamas all over the world how they can use elimination communication from birth with their babies to introduce the potty early and have them out of diapers and fully potty trained by about the time they're walking. If that sounds good to you, you're going to want to hit that subscribe button and stick around because I have a whole lot more how-to and lifestyle content and everything coming your way. Okay, so today I want to share with you 6 reasons or excuses why you might not yet have started EC with your baby. So maybe you follow me over on Instagram, you follow me here on YouTube, you know the deal. You know the deal about EC. You kind of know like why you would want to do this, and your baby is here and you haven't gotten started. So if you are sitting on the sidelines and you're still kind of like haven't fully jumped all the way in, this video is for you. Recently, I posted on my Instagram channel a story and I said, if you haven't yet gotten started with your baby with EC, why not? What is holding you back? And let me tell you, I got so many responses. So many people replied to this question, and everybody just wanted to give me their reason why they hadn't. So I am going to read out a few of the most common answers that I got why you haven't started EC with your baby and give you a few of my thoughts on that. So while we are sitting here chatting, I am going to grab a load of laundry and get started folding because I have a lot to catch up on. So if you want to go ahead and grab your laundry and fold with me, well, let's hang out. It's a lot. Okay, so we'll see if I can talk and fold at the same time, but this is what we're doing today. Okay, so I've got my notebook over here so I can refer to this, but okay, so the number one most common issue that I heard is that you're not sure when your baby is signaling, or just simply that you don't know how to start. So honestly, this is like the easiest reason why not, because this is very practical. You're simply lacking the how-to knowledge and you just don't know what to do, how to do it, when to do it. So if that's you, please go check out my Getting Started with EC playlist. I'm going to link that over here. I have videos all about how to get started with a newborn, how to get started with a mobile baby, like how to actually start recognizing their signals and what that looks like. So you can go check all that out here. There's all of this free resource for you, so please go check that out if you are simply struggling with, I don't know what to do. Okay, number 2, my favorite, was postpartum laziness. A very honest answer, and just feeling like it's really hard to keep up with things as it is, feeling overwhelmed with what else you have going on as a new mama. And I just want you to know that I totally understand that. I get that. With both of my pregnancies previously, both of my postpartum experiences, yeah, I was basically homeless after the first one and was moving house multiple times. That's a long story that I'm not going to go in here, but we did not settle into our apartment where we were going to live until my son was a month old. And we had been living with my dad for most of my son's first month of life, and we finally got settled a month later. Breastfeeding was really difficult. He was 2.5 weeks early. I was diagnosed with severe preeclampsia at the end of my pregnancy, and he was taken early by emergency C-section. So I didn't get to have the natural birth in the birth center unmedicated like I had planned and like I wanted. And then breastfeeding was really hard because he was just not really ready to be out in the world yet. And I was pumping in the hospital. I ended up being readmitted to the hospital after we had come home. So I think I was like 5 days postpartum, and I had postpartum preeclampsia, and I relapsed and I got sent back to the hospital. And without my baby, because this was during the pandemic, and they, despite the fact that I had just been discharged from the postpartum unit days earlier, the hospital policy was that a child, any child under 18, was considered a carrier. And so he was not allowed to come back to the hospital with me after I was readmitted. I was furious and I almost didn't go. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. But I share all that to say that, yeah, sometimes postpartum is not what you imagined it would be. It's not as smooth sailing as you hoped it would be. It's hard. And I also struggled with postpartum anxiety. I was trying to continue to run my independent architecture practice that I was still operating at the time on very little sleep. I was trying to do that in early mornings and during nap times, and that ended up causing me some serious health issues. And later on, my cardiologist told me that I needed to get more sleep or I was going to need surgery. So anyway, postpartum is some hard business. I get it. And with my daughter, my second postpartum, she ended up in the NICU for a week. And that was a whole thing. I've never really told this birth story, like start to finish, and maybe I will someday. It's been really hard for me to process it. It's taken me a long time to get to where I can talk about it without getting really emotional. So maybe I will talk about that soon, but suffice it to say that when you say that you're overwhelmed in postpartum, I understand. I have been there. And also, I recommend in my free guide, if you have that, you don't have that, you can download that in the link down below. But in my free guide, you'll find that I recommend you get started within the first 8 weeks of life. So you do not have to start pottying your baby in the hospital. You do not have to catch the first poop. Some of you do, and that's amazing, truly. And I applaud you for that. I think it's awesome. Your baby is capable. Your baby is ready to communicate that to you, to go through the motions, to actually, do the thing. So it's really about when you are ready to start. And it's the same with traditional potty training too. There's a lot of talk in the literature, on the websites from your pediatrician about like, oh, when is my baby ready? And you might even have Googled, when is my child ready for potty training? And the truth is, it's when are you ready for potty training? Let's be honest. It's when are you ready to take the diapers off, take away your backup plan, and start actually responding to your baby's needs, because your baby is born ready and your baby arrives earthside ready to communicate their needs. The ability to recognize their urge and communicate that with you via, whether that's squirming or fussing or unlatching while they're breastfeeding. Obviously, it's very primitive when you're getting started, and it develops and becomes, more advanced, more pronounced as they get older. But the recognition and the instinct is there from day one. And so it's really about when are you ready to accept that, and when are you ready to respond to it. So you really just want to get started within the first 8 weeks, because that is the time when 8 weeks is about when leap 2 happens. And so your baby is going to undergo a pretty significant developmental leap, a pretty significant leap in their brain development around 8 weeks of age. And so that is 8 weeks from their due date. So if your baby was early or late, you can adjust the calculation, but 8 weeks from their due date is when a big developmental leap happens. And that is when your baby starts to physically become aware of their body inside and out. They start to become aware that they are a separate person from you, and they really start to feel things. So I did a video a couple weeks ago about why your newborn might be crying when you're pottying them, which is really, really common. And part of it simply has to do with the fact that they're going through a leap around that time. And it can just make everything new and overwhelming. And it can definitely lead to your baby crying when they're pooping, because it's a whole new sensation. It's a whole new world for them to kind of become aware of. So it doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It just means your baby is becoming more aware. So I get it. Postpartum is hard. You're probably feeling overwhelmed, and maybe you're having a really hard time with feeding your baby, breastfeeding. Sleep is really challenging during this time. Maybe you have to go back to work really early. I had to go back to work at 8 weeks postpartum with my daughter. I was self-employed with my son, my first baby, and so there wasn't really a going back to work period, but I was definitely trying to get up early before he did and work during nap time, like within the first 4 weeks, because I was trying to make money. Like, mama had to survive, and I was the primary breadwinner in both of those situations. And so we were really dependent on me to provide financially for our family. And so, um, given all of that, I just want to encourage you to not see EC as something else that's going to add to your load, but actually to consider that it might be something that's going to make things easier. A lot of mamas say that A, it's far easier than they thought it was going to be, and B, it's difficult, sure, like it takes more attention, but it's no more difficult than attending to any of your baby's other needs that you're already attending to. And I think also, and many people have said this, many of my clients have said this, that it gives you another tool to use to understand why your baby's crying, and it's another tool in your toolbox to respond. So if your baby is crying, you don't know what's going on, you've tried all the other things, you've fed them, they've napped, you've changed their diaper, why are they crying? Sometimes it's simply because they need to go potty and they don't want to soil their diaper. Their diaper is still clean because they don't want to poop in it. And they are asking you to help them. They're asking you to take it off and offer. And if you don't take it off, they're going to continue to cry. And so when you learn to use elimination communication as a tool to recognize what's really going on, you can actually connect with your baby more, understand what's going on more, and alleviate the crying and bring peace back into your home. So this was a really long-winded one on the second one, but if you're experiencing postpartum laziness and or overwhelm, I want you to know EC is not as hard as you think it is. It's actually quite easy, and everything about the reason I have a course about this is to make it even easier for you so that you can get started successfully, keep going successfully, and actually integrate it into your modern life. Because I get it, you don't live in a village in India and your baby is running around naked with like 5 grandparents to help you. That is not your life, most likely, if you're watching me. And so I do understand that it's a little bit more challenging in our modern situation, but I've done it. I've done it while working full time. I've done it with no grandparents around, and I've done it with 2 kids in childcare, and I can show you how to do it too. So it is not as hard as you think it is, and I promise, it is going to actually make your life easier. So if you're overwhelmed, please consider starting EC. It actually may make you less overwhelmed in the long run. Okay, moving on from that one. So another one I hear a lot is if your baby is people say their baby's in daycare or the daycare won't help. What do you do? So this is a real issue. I want to acknowledge that first and foremost. And it's also very common. In most families in the US where I live, both parents are working, and that is a financial necessity, or the mother and or the father, both parents, choose to have a career, choose to have meaningful work that they went to school for and want to contribute to society. That's okay. That's great. I am not here to like go all tradwife on you and tell you that one parent needs to stay home, or there's this one guy on the internet that talks about budgeting, and he literally said, and I unfollowed him after this, he literally said, if one parent can't afford to stay home, you're not budgeting correctly. I was like, okay, unfollow. But I completely disagree with that. It is okay for both you and your partner to want to have gainful employment, doing work that you love, that you went to school for, that lights you up, that you want to pursue. And it is okay to continue doing that while your children are little. Okay, just gonna say that. If you want to unsubscribe, go right ahead. You're not my people, but if you're still here after that, your child might be in daycare, and that's okay. And you can absolutely still do EC with your baby in daycare, even if they're not going to help. And obviously, I would love for you to have the conversation with them. Got my pregnancy genes out to watch them. Oh yeah, if you haven't noticed, I am rocking a baby bump over here. I am almost 14 weeks pregnant at the time of filming with my third baby, and we're very excited. So I can finally tell you that on here because I finally announced it over on Instagram. Um, and to my family. I had not told my family, and that was like why I have not told social media, because I felt like they maybe should find out for me. My dad actually found out from Instagram, which was funny. He found out from my cousin, who found out from Instagram, who then told the family, I assume, because I don't think my dad uses Instagram. Anyway, I digress. Got my pregnancy genes. But if your child is in daycare and they refuse to help, that is not a reason not to do EC while they are at home with you. Why? Because even if you work full time, we'll say you're gone for 45 hours a week, I've done the math, that is only 25% of your week. That means that your baby is home with you the other 75% of the week. And if you're in a different situation where your baby is in daycare like all the time and you have a night nanny and everything too, maybe we're not having the same conversation. But for most of you, if you are working a normal 40-hour-a-week job, your baby is in daycare, they don't want to help, they're still home with you 75% of the time. And one of the huge benefits of EC is it's not about not using diapers. It's not about never soiling a diaper or catching everything. You don't have to catch everything. I'm not here to help you catch everything. I don't even expect you to try to catch everything. The important thing is that you are introducing your baby to the potty, to the mechanics of using the potty, of recognizing the urge in their body, of communicating that to you or to their caregiver, of letting people know like, hey, I need to poop, or hey, I did poop. This is huge. Most 2-year-old toddlers who have never been exposed to the potty before struggle with this for weeks, sometimes months, when they're first introduced to potty training. Also, side note, if you have bought into the myth that you're just gonna like potty train your 2-year-old in 3 days over the weekend, honey, like, do not expect that something that you have been working on, that is diaper training your baby for 2 years, is going to be undone overnight in 3 days. There may be some miracle kids out there who succeed in doing that. It is not most children. So there will be courses that will try to sell you a 3-day potty training plan, and you might think that's easier than just starting EC with your baby now and potty training from birth. And when I say potty training, obviously we are not training a baby to go use the potty. EC is the natural foundation for toddler potty training later on when they become developmentally and physically ready, which is going to happen as early as about 10 months. So it's actually much earlier than you might realize. It's as soon as they are physically capable of getting to the potty on their own. So if they can stand and cruise and sit down, they're ready. And I show you exactly how to do that in my course. But suffice it to say, we are exposing a child to the potty early so that potty training happens naturally as they physically develop and move through the different stages of crawling and standing and cruising and ultimately walking. So it is fantastic to expose your baby to the potty at home with you, to expose them to the process of recognizing the urge and communicating it at home with you as much as possible, even if they're in a daycare situation that does not want to help out. Also, it's super, super important that all of us are asking the daycares for help with this, because the reason that daycares don't help oftentimes is because of a structural problem. They don't have access to a toilet. And in the US, oftentimes that is because it is not code required that they have access to a toilet for infant care areas. Also, I'm an architect. I have another hat. I'm an architect in my professional life, but so I'm actually really interested in how culture informs code, informs like the actual situation that you're dealing with. So in order for the code to change and the situation to change, the culture has to change. So if you want other babies eventually to be able to do EC in a daycare setting, ask the teachers, make a rumble about it. The more people are asking for this, the more the demand increases, the sooner it's going to change. And it is going to take all of us, many of us, asking for this to make a change. Okay. I've only gotten through 3, and this is getting to be a very long video. Okay, so I'm going to end this here. We're going to do a part 1 and a part 2. This is going to be part 1, and I will film the rest of this later, but I don't think anybody wants to listen to me for more than 20 minutes. So I'm going to end this here, but thanks for watching today. I am going to keep working on my laundry, but if you are interested in getting started with your baby, I just really want to encourage you to go for it. And to make that easier for you, I am actually hosting my 7-day EC Bootcamp 7-day challenge starting October 17th. That is a 7-day get started EC Bootcamp that is going to help you break out of your diaper dependence, get the skills that you need to have success with achievable daily challenges. Every day there's going to be one challenge. I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to know to do it and nothing more. It is one email. I'm going to give you any additional resources or videos that you need to kind of like know how to potty your baby or know what to do or how to do it. So it includes the motivation and the how-to support, and I'm going to guide you through every step of the way. I did this back in August for the EC Olympics, and we had well over 100 people from all over the world signed up, and it was super fun, and people were getting amazing, amazing results. People were emailing me every single day being like, Heather, oh my God, guess what just happened? And people were starting EC from scratch with their newborns on up to 8 months. And people were emailing me just like, I had no idea it was going to be this easy. I'm so glad we got started on this journey. The person who won the challenge, she went like the longest streak of time. I think it was almost 3 days without missing anything. That's better than I've ever done, y'all. She didn't miss one. She was from Iceland and she had started EC with her baby on day 1 of the challenge, had never done it before. That is how effective this email challenge was at actually supporting people, giving them exactly what they needed to get started and helping them through it. So that is starting on October 17th. If you want to sign up, go check the link down below. It is not free. It is $49. Why? Because I want you to say yes to investing in you and your baby. You are worth it. Your baby is worth it. And you can continue to invest that $49 in your next box of diapers and just continue business as usual, or you can do something different. And I want you to do something different because this $49, y'all, is literally going to change your life and it's going to save you thousands down the road. All you have to do is try it and you will see what is possible with your baby and there's no going back. All right, I'm going to end this here. Thank you so much for watching this week. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit that like button, and leave me a comment. That really helps me to see what you enjoyed about this video and helps my channel grow and this video reach more families just like yours. All right, that's all for me. Bye for now.